Hello, this is Ep8 and welcome back to Ars Nouveau. We've got a lot to do. We fixed our storage system last time. We've got the whole thing up and running. I even moved over everything to the new lectern right here. So this is now everything in our sophisticated storage barrels. We've got it all set up. Now it is time to finally put this to some good use. After last episode, I went ahead and made a real quick to-do list of various things that we can do. And I think we're going to start with just the first thing here, which is base quality of life upgrades. So now that we have storage in an actual permanent location, the thing is, I have to walk way over here, and I don't like having to walk through and wade through the water just to get over here and type what I need. And it turns out we don't need to do that. What we can do is we can use some remote casting tools. One of those is the eye. So it's actually going to be two things, the Enchanter's Eye, and then, as you'll see, it uses on a scry crystal. So I'm going to add this to our list there, and crystal, scry crystal, perfect. These two things, this is made with the scry crystal. I haven't made this yet, and that's mostly because ender pearls. Lots of ender pearls in this stuff. So now that we have a decent amount of ender pearls, I think we've got 20 of them. That's enough to do what I want, at least. We can actually put this to some use. What we can do is we can use the Enchanter's Eye to cast a spell. And specifically, the spell I want to cast is Interact. It's not really well documented. It's kind of by design that's not documented. It's kind of an emergent feature here. Remote access to these guys, yeah, you can set it up with the Enchanter's Eye, casting an Interact spell through a scry crystal aimed at a storage lectern. It's kind of a mouthful to get there, but we can get there. So let's see, I need Blaze. I need at least one Eye of Ender, it said. So I'm going to we'll get 4 of these. I don't need more dust at the moment, but I've got my crush set up here, so we can turn that and it gets us 3 instead. So a little bit better. I'm going to make a couple more of those. Don't really need them, like I said. That was enough to make the scry crystal. Easy enough. Cool. Thank you very much. And now the Enchanter's Eye needs another scry crystal. Okay. And 4 pearls and 4 blaze. Perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4. We only need 1 of these, so that's going to be fine. And I think I moved my stuff up to over here. Kind of trying to optimize my layout here. But let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. And you go right in the middle. Perfect. While that is crafting up, I'm going to hop over here and place our scrying eye down. Right there. Now, these do have 2 different purposes for the scry crystal. You can either cast through them with the Enchanter's Eye, or you can use them as a camera. This particular one, we're not going to use as a camera because seeing the bottom of a block isn't that useful. But what we are going to do is grab our Enchanter's Eye, go over here, say you are now selecting that. Where did I put my scribe table? Up here. Plop you on there, and let's see. I'm not using a grow spell at the moment, so that's good. I don't need a shape on this because actually, I think I do need a shape. Yeah, well, we need a shape. Let's go with projectile, and I think all I need is projectile interact, and we'll say interact. Now, normally I'd probably name this something like storage. In fact, I'm going to change our color here to red. Save. So if we shift right click, we now have a red eye here. Let's put that right there and grab that back. Thank you. Enchanter's Eye, interact. Now, the cool thing is, this can work on a lot of different stuff. Right now, right click, it opens up my storage. In fact, if we move over here a little bit, you can see over on this side, we've got our little particle goes up, so that interacts with it. But we can also use this with scry scrolls, I think is what they're called. Scry. We can use this with scry scrolls to mark additional scry crystals so that we can actually do more than one thing. In fact, you know what? I'm actually going to do that right now. Scry. We need another eye. Another eye, I said. Thank you. And we need a scryer's scroll, which is blank parchment. Okay, easy enough. Let's see, H, parchment. You are this guy here. We don't have any of those, but we have a lovely storage system that works nicely. So we can just automatically grab those. Blank parchment, perfect. Now what this guy's gonna do is, I'm gonna put you under here just to demonstrate. Right click that. Now, if I right click with my regular enchanter's eye on its own, it opens up my storage, cool. But if I put this in my offhand, oh, it's not working. Okay, let's try this again. I think it might be because it's vanilla, and a lot of vanilla things have issues if you are too far away from them. Break you. That is tiny. Let's try this again on our chipped workstation. It should work on that one. Put you in our offhand. Really? Interesting. I thought that did work. Oh, it does, but I have to be close to it. So it followed Vanilla's systems of it needing to be within a few blocks. Oh, that's disappointing. That's disappointing. I was hoping to be able to carry this with me and be able to get Mason Workbench whenever I needed for building stuff, and it looks like I cannot do that. Well, nevertheless, we will find out a use for this later. I'm going to kind of mess around each time I'm building anything to see if I can hook it up to something. I might be able to hook it up to like the blood magic chest, for instance, swap it out instead of a vanilla chest to something else. But at the moment, we at least now have access to our storage from anywhere, as long as it's loaded, of course. The next thing we can do here is to cover up our hole. Right now we've got a hole here so that it can access it, and you'll notice I put it 2 blocks down. The reason for that is because I want to make some false weave, which I think I've got everything I need. Air essence and mage bloom block. We can get some of these. I need a few more than that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 should be enough. 8 of those. False weave is with air in the middle. Excellent. Now if I place you here, I should be able to cover it up with that block, put you right there, and you wouldn't even know that there's anything underneath there. And the projectile will happily fly right through the false weave because it's false, it's not really there. You can walk right through it. So the projectile will go through, and we have ourselves remote access. Is this gonna work? Right, the beam's gonna go right through it too. Okay, that works anyway. So plop you back down, thank you. And you wouldn't even know that there's a hole underneath here to access it from remote. Awesome. Let's see, what is next on our list? Now, the next thing that we need to get done around here is something I've been putting off. Right here, we are about a little over halfway through our backlog of source berries, and this is all we got. I have some more source berries in here, so when this runs out, I'm not completely out, but that is our source generation right now. Just a chest, not getting refilled, source berry, and mycelial source link. That's it. We need to fix that. And I'm going to start off by picking up our tablet of flight here. Right click. With carry on mod, you can pick these up and move them. Normally you can't do that, but hey, we've got it, so we might as well use it. Let's go ahead and patch this up real quick. We'll do a Deepslate there and a tough right there. Perfect. Oh, you can see it. Okay, that's fine. So it's going to keep pulling from this jar right here. It's getting refilled, but we need to actually sort out our source generation. Right now, nothing. We need to fix that. So we have a few options. One is if I look over here, we have some willing participants. Once the game keeps up there, it does that when I cross chunk borders. I need to figure out exactly why. We have some participants over here that are willing to help us with what we need, and that is I could put a Vitalic source link over here, which will just keep getting source every time that they end up leaving. So that's one option. The problem is it's not very reliable, and excuse me, yeah, that's right. It's not very fast. Vitalic can be really powerful if you've got a mob farm that is just constantly killing things, but it's every few seconds that we get one, so it's not entirely useful. So I'm not sure about that. So it's something we can do to definitely supplement our source income, and maybe that's enough to power our single flight ritual over here. but it's not really enough to power an entire base. And I say that because, well, we've got lots of things that we'd like to do over here, such as auto essence, smelter, crusher, all that sort of stuff, automatic ore processing. Lots of things we'll want source, but we don't have it. And the Vitalic over there, I don't think is going to cut it, so we're going to need something a little bit more powerful than that. So let's travel over here to Zachras's place. He's got a flight ritual running, so we can move around easily. We've got a couple things we can look at. One is his airship. So earlier on in the season, we all built airships and flew them around. One thing that Zachras did with his was he has source production set up. All this right here, this is part of his ship. It flies around with him, it moves with him, and the way it works is quite simple. It is just a single tablet of harvest. I think he's got a... Is that, I have an agronomic source link up there, I think. And then it goes into this chest, or repository rather, filled up with the mendostine, and gets sent down into a single pedestal to be eaten by the mycelial source link. Now, since this is all part of the same ship, the fact that they're just simply in proximity means he was able to link things together. If I look at the link list on here, which I don't, targeted block right there is negative 28665842. That's the actual location of this block. The kind of weird magic of Valkyrian skies. It's not really here, but they're all able to link together because they're all way over there at negative 2 billion. So that's one option here, is we can do like this. The mendostine, the berries would basically do the same as the fruit here from the archwood. Similar setup to what we had before, very small footprint, and produces quite a lot of source. Is it enough? Is it unique enough? I don't know. The other option is if we head down here through the hole in his roof. I wonder if he knows he has a hole in his roof. Down here, it's kind of hard to see what's going on. He's got a few different setups. Right here, we've got a bunch of Wixies. These guys are crafting up lots of potions. Specifically, let's see, here's an awkward potion. So that's one. This is a potion of shielding, which is made with bastion fruit. A potion of recovery, which is made from the mendostine from up above. Let's see, water breathing is from the, I want to say that's the Wilden Spike. He's got some Drigme set up for that. And strength is from the Wilden Horn, I believe. So all that gets blended together. Strength is over here. All of it gets blended together into one mega potion, this one right here. And this particular potion, if it is drank by an alchemical source link, every dose of this is worth 2 full source jars. I think it's right exactly at 20,000 source, which is the entire buffer of the alchemical source link, which is 2 full jars. This holds 100 doses, it's 100% full. This is 200 jars of source in one potion bottle. So very powerful, very useful, and an extremely small footprint for the amount of output there. That right there, that's a source production. And it's way more than anyone actually ever needs. Over here, he's got some more stuff, which is basically a jar auto filler and loader. So he's got lots of source jars filling up here, just automatic, and it is in an ender chest, so he can send them wherever he would like. So potions, that's another option. Mega potion here, we can do it with just archfruit instead of the water breathing and strength additions there. Just do shielding, recovery, blasting, and I don't know, whatever that one is. Just all 4 archfruits is able to get you around 18,000, so not quite the 20,000 that he's getting there, but certainly more than anyone actually needs. That would definitely be enough, and we could fit that honestly anywhere around here. We could have it be in here, we could have it be under here, we could have a separate building for it. I've got spots for buildings around here that we can definitely use. I want to have some walkways and stuff here as well. So that's an option, is potions, which I'm not sure if we want to do or not. So perhaps let's take a step back and see what are our actual options. We have agronomic, volcanic, alchemical, vitalic, mycelial, and fluid. So each of these, agronomic source link is sort of like the starter power generation. It works basically for growth tick, so you can't bone meal to get source from it, but growth ticks and it has a very large area, so it can be useful for things, especially if you combine it with something like a cactus farm where it requires absolutely no upkeep. That is an option. Volcanic, this uses burnables, so things like coal, charcoal, blazing archwood gives a bonus. Basically, a stack of blazing archwood is about the same as a stack of coal, so pretty useful. Alchemical source link, this one here we just talked about with the potions, and melded potions give quite a lot more power from them, so that's definitely, this is the answer to what is the highest output. Alchemical is the highest output, so useful. I'm not sure if I want to do that just because I think everyone else on the server is using that right now, so maybe not. Vitalic, we talked about that one over at the Pillagers. Basically, when things are born, when they are in the process of growing from baby to adult, or when they die, you get source from those. So kind of interesting. I think it's around 6% of a jar is a chicken from hatching from an egg to collecting its feathers, for instance. Mycelial source link, this one here is eating food type items, and magic fruit such as berries or the archfruit gives you a bonus there, so it can be useful for that. And fluid source link from Starbuncle Mania. This one here requires liquefied source bucket to create, which requires scooping up liquefied source. There's a whole process for getting that. So that's how you make that, and then this basically creates power from various fluids. Now, water is too cheap. You don't get anything from water. What you do get from, though, is, for instance, we've got lava over here. I've just got this just storage here. Nothing to do with the iron farm. It just exists here for holding lava. I had some lava generators earlier with the dripstone and stuff like that. So it can generate from lava. It can technically generate from liquefied source, but it's basically a break even. In fact, it may even be a loss. I can't quite remember. So it's not really worth it to turn it into liquid source to then turn it back into source power. It's just not worth it. Other items that are possible, we have quite a few fluids in this pack. Fluid. It's not really a good way of listing things, I suppose. I think we can use blood magic fluid. I'm not entirely sure about that, actually. Doubt fluid, I don't know what that is, but it's a thing. We can make chocolate, and milk is also a fluid because of Create adding that. And I think maybe Suspicious Stew can be made of fluid. I can't quite remember. But definitely milk. So you could do something like a bunch of cows in jars like this, and you can use a spell turret to milk the cows for you. And then from there, you fill up the bucket into the fluid and turn that into source. That's an option. It's probably not a great option, but it is an option. Let's go back to source link. What do we want to use? Alright, well, I still haven't actually decided what I want, but I am going to go ahead and make a Vitalic source link. And let's grab a few jars. I don't think I have any empty ones available. Grab just a couple of those guys. I'm curious just how much I can get out of this system over here without really doing much. So I'm just going to place, honestly, I think if I just place you right here and place our jars, for instance, just 1, 2, 3, we'll get something. Yeah, I don't know how much. They should be within range. Yeah, they're within range. Okay, so I'm going to let this sit for a little bit and just see what all we can get. I'm going to move a little bit further away so that spawn rates aren't affected by proximity. And we'll just kind of wait a little bit. Nope, it's not full yet. In fact, instead of actually sitting there watching it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back over here and we're going to grab some relays. Relay. I can type. Let's grab just regular source relay for right now. Let's grab a few of you. And while we're at it, we also would like a depositor, which is going to be 4 hoppers and a regular relay. So we'll grab another of those. And I think I've got some hoppers here from Zachris. We have the easy shulker thing on here, so I can just pull things straight out, which is super handy. Let's go ahead and grab... We need one of these, I think. I think regardless of what we do, we're going to need one of these, so that's fine. Craft that up. Let me grab my wand out of here. Cool. And let's grab you out of there. Perfect. Okay, so what we're going to do is, and this has been like 30 seconds since I last actually cut off that last clip. So just as a timeline here, we're going to place the depositor right here. We're going to place a jar next to it. We're going to go over here and we're going to place a relay. Can pull from, I think, 30 blocks. So put that there. Apparently I've got someone with a backpack over here. So break you, you're at 46. We're going to pull from you to this relay. This relay is going to go to up here. You can go to this relay. I forgot to actually pull from this one, didn't I? Or did I? No. Over here, I need to say from you to you. And then that is able to transfer over here. Okay, so I wanted to do that just so I can be watching our actual level from over here instead of having to keep looking over there. So we're currently at 68% full. Cool. Anyone else? Looks like here's another pillager. Thank you for your service. Yeah, no, we wait. Okay, it's been a couple minutes, just kind of checking Discord and that sort of thing. It's not super fast. The mycelial downstairs with the source berries is definitely a whole lot faster, but it does work. Yeah, so, okay, let me just kind of think here. So if I just break all of this stuff here, I'm going to break you as well. Indeed. Okay, that's going over there. So I think you have a small buffer inside. What we're going to do is, to emphasize that this is temporary, I'm going to keep everything out in the open. From you to this one right here. Cool. From you to a depositor down here, I think is what we'll do. Maybe right here. Okay. And you should automatically start filling that one. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to break that. There we go. It's no longer making anything. My mycelial is now empty. So at this point, this jar is now powering my flight ritual. Well, it was before, but it's now powering it based off of everything here. So it's still at 100%. Cool. Good. That's what I want to see. Yeah. We have source. Not a lot, but it does work. So let's plop the rest of these jars down as well. You're already a full jar. We'll put the empty jar down right there. So it'll just fill these up. Apparently you did have some buffer. Cool. That at least lets me clear these. These do not compress, right? I can't compress them. No, so they're just going to go into a regular chest. That's fine. You guys can all go in. Everyone else as well. You guys all go in. Thank you. So our source is now fully set up based off of the pillagers over there. So it's producing blood as well as power for the base. It does work. It is doing something, just slowly. I think for now that's okay. Grab another Deepslate here. Patch that up. Okay, so that's running. It's not a whole lot, and it's temporary. So I'm not going to have my main storage for source be visible right here. It's probably going to be maybe a room underneath this room for my main battery. I do want it centralized at least, so we'll have that going. But for now, that does work. And I don't have to worry about running out of berries, so that's cool. While I don't see source generation as being the permanent fix yet, I do think I can actually start on my actual permanent storage for it. So right now we've got our depositor here. This is just directly below here. Cleared out a little area. Depositor is currently collecting from over there, so it sends source over here, gets sent to the depositor. Depositor simply deposits, hence the name, into nearby source jars. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to move these down below here. Can grab 6 of them, I guess. So I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Close enough. It works. It's close enough to the ritual brazier that it can pull everything. It can actually pull from pretty far away. And it's within, I think, the 5 blocks that the depositor can reach. So that works. Next up, what we're going to do is we're going to grab our collector. It's basically the same as that, only instead of hoppers, it's a chest. It's going to automatically pull from everything around it. And it can send, I believe this one is similar to a splitter. Or it might be similar to a regular relay where it can only connect to a single output. But that's what the source relay splitter is for. So this one, I do actually want to be somewhat visible, I think. I don't want it here. Maybe just right up at this point here. So basically source will get beamed straight up from the middle. I kind of like that idea visually. So I'm going to place this there. And it should be able to reach. We'll find out, I guess. Go from our collector to a splitter. Cool, it's happy with that. And what we can do then is we can just send from the splitter wherever we need. In this case, I'm going to select it and drop it off over here so that our enchanting apparatus is always full. So it's just going to pull from our storage. That's going to beam straight up. You know what I should have done? You should be centered. Yes, you need to be centered. We'll break you, plop you right underneath there instead. So it's still going to collect from everything. Just need to relink this. There we go. Okay, so now it's going to beam straight up instead of at a slight angle. So that's up to there. I like that. I like the idea of that at least. We've got 6 jars of storage, which is honestly not a whole lot. But it's enough for now. It's enough to do what we need because we don't have high throughput yet. We still have very slow input from over there. And currently the only output is the flight ritual, which is right next to it. Do I have any more tough? I got rid of most of that. Tough. Thank you. Fill you in. Okay. And you wouldn't even know that there's a storage underneath here. But the storage is basically done. I can always expand it later. But the thing with Source that a lot of people seem to have issues with is it's not really designed to have a whole lot of storage. Like with Create, for instance, you don't have a storage block. You basically just match your input to your output. So we've got some backlog here, 6 jars, but we don't really need a whole lot. We've got the only thing using Source is the flight ritual, and over here, the enchanting apparatus. I'm not even using it for the imbuement chamber here, which is still temporary location, by the way. So basically, having a giant like wall of jars, it doesn't do anything for us. We don't need it just to have a bigger number because it doesn't really matter. So I personally am of the opinion that you shouldn't really have a whole lot of storage unless you need it for a specific application. For instance, for main base storage here, where basically you just want to balance your input and your output, small storage, it's fine. For something that uses a lot of source very quickly, for instance, using some turrets to automate fortune or a tree farm, for instance, those use a large amount of source in a burst. So basically, it'll drain a lot of source very quickly, and you'll be limited by the throughput of the actual relays. So for those, I would have more storage. I see you over there. I would have more storage for those at the actual place where it's being used. Instead of main storage over here being, you know, a million different jars that don't really do much for you. Well, my plan for the rest of the episode was basically going to be, let's set up some automation, let's set up a smelter, let's set up a crusher, let's do something like that. And then I realized I don't have a place to put it. Right now I've got space in here. I need to figure out exactly what I want to do for the walls and if I want to have automation into the walls like the bees over here. So instead, I spent the past half hour or so taking a look out of the front here and trying to figure out how I want to actually lay out this place. I've been kind of mentally referring to it as a city, and right now it's just one building, so it's not exactly a good city. I'm going to land, actually, and do this with cheaty camera here, because otherwise flight's going to run out. Cheaty camera, F4. So, same thing I was doing, just now I don't have to worry about falling. Okay, so my original plan was I had cleared these areas here, here, and here, and a little bit there, as basically building sites. As well as right here, actually, if I go through the wall here, it made a little pathway to get to this side here. There's some stairs from leftover. I'm not entirely sure if I want to do that anymore. So looking at this, what I realized this place needs is more motion, and more color. So yes, right now it's bright red. It won't be bright red. Well, it'll have red. But what I'm thinking, and when I was looking at this, I was realizing, you know what would look great right here? A pond. And you know what would look even cooler? A pond that has little cascading waterfalls going all the way down. So instead of these stairs, it would be waterfalls. I thought that looked pretty cool. I haven't done it yet. But I want to figure out what we're going to do for buildings first because, well, that's going to be the next step is if we're going to put a smelter in, do I put it down here? Do I have a bridge going across to the areas over here? Maybe. But I'm going to kind of play around with this and figure out exactly what types of buildings, where I want them. I mostly want, this is sort of like the front of the build, so I want to be able to see lots of stuff from this side. Something over there. Not sure what. We'll put something there. Either way, I'm liking how it's turning out, and I'm going to do a little bit more work just making more of these little skeletons, wireframes. Yeah. I got a real quick spell here. It's just Ray, Conjure Mage Block, Amplify. Amplify makes them permanent. Normally I would not recommend building with these. They are considered tile entities. They're non-ticking, so they don't have like a whole lot of CPU usage on them, but they do exist, and from history, when I've had to go through and help someone with like cleaning up something that's broken in their chunks, it makes it hard for me when reading through NBT files to see that, hey, you've got 3,000 of these guys sitting around. So personally, I don't use them for permanent building, but they do work great for wireframes, so you can kind of get an idea of what you want your structures to look like. The last thing I want to get done today is something that honestly I probably should have done a while ago, and that is this stuff right here, Deepslate and Tough. Tough is going to be a little bit more difficult, but I think it basically is going to require us to have Deepslate anyway. And while currently I have 2800, you'll be surprised how fast you actually go through that. I've used quite a lot throughout most of this build. These walls, these are all Deepslate. I'm not even sure if I want those walls. But Deepslate down here, Deepslate, this is Deepslate as well, and of course on the outside, most of the bottom down here is also Deepslate. I still need to decide kind of what I want to do for this border. I've been trying this raw copper. I'll figure that out later, but basically I've been going through Deepslate and it is kind of annoying to get. At least annoying for me, because to get it, I have to go all the way down here. I hope I have water at the bottom. Good, I do. Down here, I've got my mines, which is basically me just clearing out a 3x3 tunnel and just getting a ton of Deepslate. It's kind of annoying. It takes a while, and it's just something I'd rather not be doing. I'd rather just have it. So, what are we going to do about that? Well, what we can do is we have ourselves a spell here. In fact, let's create it. Touch, Conjure Terrain. On its own, this is going to just create dirt. Dirt's cool, I guess. Yay. Dirt. If we amplify that, we can get instead cobblestone. If we amplify it a second time, though, we can get cobbled Deepslate. Now, on its own, cobbled Deepslate I'll still need to smelt in order to get the regular Deepslate I'm using here, but cobbled Deepslate is also pretty useful for a lot of stuff. Most of these brick variants, these are from the cobbled anyway. So I think if we can just cobble together this, I think that'll be good. And what we're going to do is we are going to use something that I haven't used before. That is a manipulation infused turret. This is from Ars Elemental. I think I got this one as a gift from Zacharias, but basically it's a focus of block shaping, some essence. Focus of block shaping isn't too bad to get either. In fact, I don't think I actually have... Oh, I do have one. Okay, cool. So I can kind of demonstrate how this works. Right now, touch, conjure terrain, amp, and break, I can use as a spell here. I can use as a spell. Touch, conjure, terrain, amplify. Interesting. That should have been working. Why is that not working? Oh, right. Yes. 1 second. It doesn't do anything up there because I need touch sensitive. So basically I was trying to touch a block and there wasn't a block there to touch, is the air. I need sensitive to do that. Amp and break, cool. Not too bad, it automatically breaks it. Now, if I were to do this without this focus though, it doesn't work. And the reason for that is the touch targeting and for break versus place is different. In fact, I can kind of demonstrate that by doing that right here. You'll see what happened is it breaks the block that it touched, and then it places a block against that block that you touched. So the two of them have different targeting methods, and so you can't really do that. But if you have the focus of block shaping, what it does is it changes how your spells are targeting, and it allows your spells to target blocks that they already basically targeted. Can be kind of interesting. You can create a lot of cool stuff with that, like throwing blocks around. But what we can use it for here is just a system that automatically does that. Only a little bit bigger because I want to be more source efficient. Earlier today, I went through and basically made these little kind of diagrams, not really wireframes, I guess is probably the better idea. Little ideas for where I want smaller buildings to be around our main structure up there. Pay no attention to the meteor. So we've got these here, and I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'll build them up later because building is going to take longer than I have today. But I think what we're going to do is right here, I'm just going to kind of clear this out. And I think I'm just going to build it here, and then we can figure out an actual building around it later. I think that's going to be fine. Let's go ahead and clear out a little bit. Cool, and I think we're going to go one layer down as well. So my plan kind of for the front of the main structure of our base here is basically lots of small buildings. I added some water features here so we can have a nice little area to walk around. I'll have to figure out how to get to this room. Maybe a little bridge over this area. I've got this kind of pathway underneath the waterfall. I still need to kind of polish this area up. I'm not entirely sold on the Deepslate, but we'll get to that later. Right now, I want to just have a small area here for actually building. And since this building itself is going to be kind of half embedded in the side of our main foundation here, I think it's probably okay to just remove this wall too, just to give ourselves a little bit more room in this. It won't take up that much space, but we do need to figure out things like logistics, where we're going to get the source from. You're in my face. And also how to handle our blocks once we've created them. So let's figure that out. I'll figure out the actual source distribution later. For right now, I'm just going to hop down here and grab one of our jars. Perfect. This is a false weave block here, made to look like Deepslate. So it just kind of blends right in, but I can get down here whenever I want. I might clean up this area later, but for right now, I don't care. It's hidden. So let's go ahead, hop down here, and I think what we're going to do is we've got our manipulation turret right here. Cool. And we are going to just place a jar right there. Right there. Cool. That, I think, is basically going to work. And what we can do, Deepslate right here. Cool. Let's modify this a bit. If I go with AoE, that gets me a 3x3. Let's do it 5x5 because 25 is a nice number. It's 5x5. If I did a 4x4, then that'd be 16 per. So 4 gets me a stack. 25 works. And then also I need to do this. So break. I think that's going to work like that. So if I had chaining break, then that would be enough and it would fit within the 10. The thing is, we do have, I think we're allowed up to 20 glyphs on the server. It's a server config for that in 1.20. So I think for now we're just going to do that as well. And we're also going to do pickup. And that's also going to need a couple AoE. So that is a fairly expensive spell, but it works. Now if I just right click you on here, it is now casting the touch sensitive contour terrain, AMP2, AoE 2 break, AoE 4. AoE 4 on the first one. I didn't pick up AoE 2. And that seemed to be a big enough range to actually pick everything up. Pickup has a little bit of AoE built into it, so we only need 2 AoE in that, just to give us a little bit more, making it a little bit cheaper. let's go ahead and test that this works. We need a chest of some sort. Oak chest works from Sophisticated. You know what? I do want a block there. You can go right there. Perfect. Okay, so I need a block because I wanted a solid thing to put that on. Right. Right. Well, let's get our jar back. Cool. Well, that seemed to work. That was a lot bigger than I was expecting it to be. Did the break... You know what? I don't think we need that many AoE on there. So Conjure Train AoE 4 is working. It's giving us 25, but the break... Do we only need one break because it's a manipulation spell? We might. Let's try that. If I... That does work. Okay, because it has block shaping, and it allows our targeting of our spells, of other glyphs of our spell, to affect blocks that we created with the rest of our spell, we don't need any AoE on there. So we've got Touch, Sensitive, Conjure Terrain, Amp 2, AoE 4, Break, Pickup. No AoE needed on those because we have the Manipulation Turret or our Block Shaper Spell Focus. So that does save us quite a lot of source on that as well. Let's double check. Perfect. 25. And I think that is good. So we'll want a clock on this. And that clock is going to be also based off of whether or not we have any of this stuff in storage. So deep, we have 246 right now. Let's go ahead and throw just about everything back. 361. Let's grab ourselves a display case. Cool, I've got one. Perfect. And what we can do is if we put this, let's see, we're going to have a clock. Right, so I want this thing to fire regularly on a clock. Maybe that can be a turret, maybe it can be something else, but I want the clock, I think, to be turned off by the display case. I could just power this guy directly with it, just to kind of override any incoming signal, but I think I'd rather turn off the clock as well, just to prevent extra redstone updates. I think for compactness, as well as just kind of ease of reading what's going on, what we're going to do is we're going to take a timer turret for this. So that's just a clock plus a basic spell turret gets you your timer turret. And while it's processing, I want to show off a new change that just recently happened. If I go with projectile redstone, we can see a new change that's been made. One is, if I cast that, when it hits, you can actually see a redstone block. So that kind of is basically exactly what's happening. When it hits, it is creating a fake redstone block. So if I go ahead and grab that button, redstone, we can kind of see what's going on. If I place these down, cast it right there, it powers it for just a second, which is fine. What I also like though is wrong button, there we go. We have a new change here, which is redstone sensitive. And in this case, it does nothing until you connect it up. What happens then is, it's actually interesting. Why are you getting powered? That's weird. Redstone sensitive will directly power the block. So I'm wondering if there's maybe, it's thinking that there's a block connected to it still. So basically it's going to directly power the block that you hit. That includes if I were to stick a redstone torch on here, it'll get depowered when I hit it. Very useful. And what we're going to use is with our spell turret here, we're going to use that exact spell. And that means we can basically have it just directly hitting our spell turret that's actually doing the processing here. Right there. So let's get our timer turret right there. And we're going to place right there. And just like that, it works. Now, in order to turn that off, I'm just going to let that run actually. We're going to go ahead and place a display case right there. You know, I am actually going to turn you off. Lever. There you go. Cool. Quite effective. Okay, where did our source jar go? 75%? Okay, just checking. Right. Please stop. Okay. Cool. So what we can do is we can grab our domain wand and we can say this right here. There's nothing in here. This storage lectern, we can right click that, and then it should be within range. I think it's got a 30 block range here. If we go ahead and link that up to our primary, lectern must be within 30 blocks. Cool, not close enough. Let's go ahead and grab a few chests here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna grab 8. And we also need a lectern. So regular lectern is made like that, but we don't have any bookshelves. We don't have any books either. Cool. That plus you. I need to automate this at some point. Gets us lectern. Cool. Alright, lectern can go over here. It's a pretty cheap recipe to get a storage lectern out of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, plus a lectern in the middle. We'll go ahead and get that working. And basically what we're going to do is everything's going to be linked up to the main lectern, but we can basically just have kind of a subnetwork over there. So lectern is going to be linking to one over here, or I guess the other way around. And we'll use this kind of throughout most of our base. I think I'm just going to put this directly in the corner. We'll see if that works. If I link from you to you, perfect. There we go. I realized as I was getting the parts for this next segment here that the bug that I complained about last time with display cases here is actually going to be a problem. So here's the thing, is this top one here, I have this linked up to my main network over there, so I can access everything here, and then I'm able to set my display cases to monitor that. That's all fine. The problem is that it says emit if greater than 128, or emit if greater than 1024. They both say powered false, which is interesting, because if you go Deepslate here, we have 1086 cobbled Deepslate. And the thing is, because they're all stored in the limited barrels there with giant stack sizes, it doesn't actually see this. So if I drop this down to 127, it now says powered true because I took a stack out of the drawer and I put it into a regular chest, so now it could actually see the second stack. So it thinks I have 128, and so 128 is greater than 127, therefore this one turns on. This up here, however, yeah, I'm not going to be able to get 1024. But I came up with a solution. So I'm going to break this because I don't feel like resetting that back all the way down to 2. I came up with a circuit that I think is going to work well for us. Now, it's going to be kind of annoying because it's not going to be fully automatic, but I think it's going to be kind of an interesting system. Right here, I have a very simple little circuit. I have a lever. Lever is powering this block, which powers the redstone lamp above it, which powers this repeater. In here, I have a block called Farm Deepslate, and a hopper with nothing in it. Composter is because hoppers are otherwise fairly laggy. Composter stops it from looking for items. It just is for ticks per second problems here. And as you notice, we have a bookworm over here. Why? Because I actually have added this hopper to my main storage system over here. So right now it currently has 2 connections. One is this controller, which is all the storage. And then I also have it monitoring this single hopper. So when I turn this on, what it does is that will first power the dropper and power the hopper at the same time. So it's kind of instantaneous. Technically one's probably faster than the other, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is that when the hopper is locked from having a signal, our item stays up here. Now if I open this up and I type in farm, what we have here is farm Deepslate. Currently, the Deepslate farm is active because our light is on. Now, we might be able to automate this later if we can fix the bug with the stack sizes, but what that means is I take my little item here, go down here. You currently are powered, right? Yeah, because the redstone, the lever's on. So if I put a display case here, like so, I take this and I say you need to be reading from this, so from the lectern to the display case. Cool, detecting items. And I place this in here. Emit if greater than 0. Farm Deepslate is currently powered. So if I turn you off now, it still is turning that off. Now, what we need to do is we need to flip this around to be inverted. There we go. So that is now running. And if I go over here and turn this off, the item will fall back down into the dropper and our little turret system here is going to turn off. Perfect. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn the timer here to be longer. And because we have two of these deep slates here, the farm deep slate item, what we're able to do actually is if I were to just pop this in here, it's automatically going to start. I slowed that down to a 2-second because that was farming a little too fast for me. 1400, there we go, 1436, 1460 something. It'll be bumping up pretty soon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out. And I think what I might want here is maybe a backpack full of all of my farm automation that's set up like this. And perhaps a wall or something. I think I've got the one over there. I might have more of these later on. Ideally, I'd like to, of course, have this fixed where the display case can actually read it properly. But for right now, this is sufficient. And all I really need to do here is when I am getting low on Deepslate, I can go ahead and flip a lever. And it'll automatically start filling it up for me. Now, I do need to route the power over here. That's going to be another problem. I need to figure out my actual kind of logistics on that. At the moment, the display or the storage lectern wasn't able to actually reach all the way. So I have chaining from this middle one to this lectern here, and then from this lectern to the one outside there. It can't quite reach all on its own, and I'm going to have to probably redo the lectern part there once I have kind of a better idea of how I want to actually organize everything. Because the lectern's kind of sitting here is not exactly what I'd like. Also, these things here, stupid Endermen keep coming around and picking up things and getting my base all dirty. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out where exactly I want to put all of these lecterns, and I need to figure out chaining all of the power distribution, all that fun stuff for just the general base logistics and kind of layout of all my power lines, I guess. Okay, well, I know that I said I wasn't going to build anything here, at least right now, but I went ahead and I did. I just wanted a small little thing to enclose it. It's nothing fancy here. I've just got a back wall of the source stone, some deep slate around it, and the same floor pattern as before where it's just randomized deep slate and tough. And I'm happy with it. It's not fancy. It's just kind of a little thing here. I do want to have a lot more buildings in this whole city here. I mentioned that before with like these little wireframes. I'm not entirely sure if I want to keep the same red and everything. It does definitely tie everything together as like belonging to everything, but I do want to involve more colors than just the red here. So I might swap out all the red for something else. I haven't decided yet, but at least for right now, I've got an enclosure around it and it's at least functional. Still need to link up the source star, but at the moment we've got tons of deep slate here anyway, 1800. So I think we're going to be good for a while on that. Anyway, we got that done. We've got our inventories nicely accessible. We've got all this stuff sorted out, and I am quite happy with where we're going. I'm excited to build more buildings here. I want to build more automation. I want to get some automated ore processing set up. I need to figure out my bridges here. Froze there for a second. I need to figure out the bridges and how I want to connect to the mainland, but I'm happy with the progress we've gotten done, and I hope you are too. So, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.